address people of the state of Colorado. It's a great day for water in Colorado and for Colorado in general. Thanks for being here. We have an event here that was scheduled to start at 10 o'clock. We're a few minutes early. We're just going to start. So, my name is James Eklund. I'm the director of the Colorado Water Conservation Board. My board just approved a motion unanimously approving Colorado's water plan for submittal to Governor Hickenlooper, and I want to do that right now. So Governor Hickenlooper, here is Colorado's water plan, mid-bite.
On this day, November 19, 2015, ahead of schedule, under budget, and in full compliance with Executive Order D 2013-005, it is my great honor and privilege to accept Colorado's first ever water plan. And how apropos with this seminal moment in Colorado history that we take place in History Colorado. I think we have some of the artwork of Alan True here, which, as I think many of you know, adorns the state capitol and tells the story of Colorado's rich history with water and illustrates the words of our first poet laureate, Thomas Hornsby Farrell, who wrote, "Here is a land where life is written in water." Water's not just one of our most valuable natural resources. It is, without question, our most valuable resource. But I think if you take a look around this room, you'll see what might be an even more valuable resource. I think I just conflicted myself. Would be our people. And all the people that worked on this, the water providers, the stewards, managers from across the state, water users, from agriculture to recreation to the environment, members of the public who've engaged the state's water challenges head on by literally working countless hours in basin roundtable meetings and interbasin compact committee meetings, all manner of meetings. Obviously the Colorado Water Conservation Board, and also the tireless staff. And I want to make sure that James Eklund and all his team gets full credit. So can we give the staff and all the commissions and all the committees a round of applause? I remember having a conversation with John Stolp, maybe 6 months into my first term, and we were talking about the idea of this thing, of a water plan. And really I think it's fair to say that John Stolp and James Eklund and Mike King, that there's kind of a little concert of folks that back there in the beginning bid in and said this is something that we could do, something that the people have feared before just because of all the cliches of water for fighting and whiskey for drinking. And clearly, Colorado is a state that could do things like this differently than just about anywhere else in the country. We now have a plan with measurable objectives, concrete goals, and detailed critical actions, all driven by our statewide water values, our system of how we think about water. Now, how do we honor this amazing moment, this point in history? I think by recognizing this isn't the end, this is the beginning. And now we all share the responsibility of implementation, of taking all this work and making sure that it is transformed into meaningful action. And I think Within this, we have to recognize that time is of the essence, my lawyer friends say, that we've got to get right to work. Now, if you're a Colorado water user, which I think includes everyone in this room and everyone in the state, as we've said from the beginning, we're going to start every conversation with conservation, but now is the time when you rethink how you can be more efficient in the water you use. My son and I, last night, discussed length of showers. You think that that's not applicable and missing the point, but I do think the cultural shift is underway. And I think those conversations and everyone looking at how they can use water more efficiently is critical, and it is applicable. Those who've been engaged in working on plans, keep it up. That effort, that ripple will spread, that effort will grow. If this is the first time you're hearing about conservation, get engaged. There are lots of different ways. Now, if you're a legislator, now is the time to prepare bipartisan and collaborative legislation that's going to allow us to make progress on achieving the plan's measurable objectives and to make that legislation this upcoming session. If you're a water manager, now is the time to think regionally and holistically, right? As from the perspective of the whole system, about how to operate and integrate your systems for statewide benefit. And that can take any of 1,000 forms. If you're in agriculture, now's the time to help us pursue market-driven alternatives to the traditional buy and dry sales that, we need new systems that are going to be able to create agility in the market so that the people that are using water in agriculture can grow more and have a greater sense of security and continuity in what they're doing. We want to make sure that our agricultural users are able to better manage their business and stay in business. If you're an environmental advocate, now is the time to create stream and watershed health plans and help us analyze and find the funding to be able to implement those plans. If you're from the business community, and that could be agribusiness, it could be any business, now is the time to support this plan's call for innovation in the water space. And innovation doesn't just come in predicted places. Innovation can be created in almost any place. I think innovation is our collective brand as a state. We've done a little polling on this, and over the last years, when people think of Colorado, they don't just think of ski resorts right now. They think of innovation. They think of startups. And this is a great opportunity for the innovators in the room to think outside the box to, again, help us figure out how to achieve these measurable goals. Now, if you're a federal agency, now is the time to get out of the state. No, I'm just kidding. That's a terrible joke. I think the federal agencies have to be our partners in this as well. And they have to help us think critically about how we regulate water in the West so the states like Colorado can have the support and agility we need to confront our water challenges and to work collaboratively with our neighboring states. And lastly, if you're a governor, now is the time for a thorough and expedient review of this plan to make sure that we maintain the momentum that all these people have created and to be able to move forward with executive action wherever appropriate and necessary so that we can achieve the measurable goals in furtherance of our statewide water values. I think this is a moment that we should relish and savor. Usually in the really great meals I've had in my life, there's some moment where the conversation, the food, and the lighting all comes together. We're in that moment right now in this water plan. But just like in that dinner, the dinner goes forward. And the really best dinners continue to get better as you go along. This water plan is going to get better as we go along as well. As long as we continue and commit ourselves to that collaborative effort that was able to create it. So now, let me turn it over to our Chief Architect of Colorado's Water Plan, Chief Architect Eklund, James Eklund.